Right now, more than half the people on planet Earth could turn on a TV, watch this sport for 10 seconds, and instantly know what's going on. You can't, not yet. And here's the problem. In a few months, the World Cup is going to take over everything. Your TV, your office, your group chat, your entire feed. Everyone around you is suddenly going to become an expert. Don't let that be you guessing. So here's the deal. In the next 12 minutes, you're going to learn everything you actually need. The field, the players, the weird rules, and the stuff that confuses even people who've watched this game for years. No homework, no jargon, just the good stuff. Let's start with the part that's actually simple. Get the ball in the net. That's it. That's the whole game. 2 teams, 11 players each. 1 ball, 90 minutes on the clock. Whoever scores more goals wins. But here's the twist that throws off every American watching for the first time. You can't use your hands anywhere at all. Kick it, head it, chest it, knee it. Just don't touch it with your hands or arms, except for one guy, the goalkeeper. He's the only player allowed to use his hand, but only inside a big rectangle painted in front of his own goal. That rectangle is called the penalty box. Step outside it with your hands, and now you're just some guy who broke the rule, standing there looking guilty. Quick pause, because here's something that surprises almost everyone. The field, they call it the pitch, isn't even a fixed size. Unlike an NFL field, which is always exactly the same, a football pitch can legally be anywhere from about 100 to 130 yards long. So the stadium in Qatar and the stadium in Germany aren't the same size. Same sport, different battlefield. And the goal itself? 8 feet tall, 24 feet wide. Picture a doorway big enough to drive a small truck through. And somehow goalkeepers stop shots from going through it on a regular basis. That's the job. Okay, 11 players. Who are they and what do they actually do? Think of it like a company with 4 departments. First, the goalkeeper, last line of defense, the only employee with hand privileges and only in his own office. Then defenders. Their entire job is to stop the other team from scoring. They live near their own goal, and honestly, on a good day, nobody even notices them. Which is the point. Then midfielders. These are the engine room. They run more than anyone else on the field, connect defense to attack, and basically never stop moving for 90 minutes straight. And finally, forwards, sometimes called strikers. Their job description is one word: score. Now here's a fun one. Teams arrange these players using formations, written like 4-3-3 or 4-4-2. Those numbers tell you exactly how many defenders, midfielders, and forwards a team is using. So if a commentator says they're lining up 4-3-3, you now know 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 forwards, plus the goalkeeper who's never counted in that number. Coaches will argue for hours about which setup is better. It's basically football's version of arguing over the best chess opening. Now let's talk about how you get in trouble. Trip someone, push them, or go in for a reckless tackle. They know that's a foul. The referee blows the whistle and the other team gets a free kick, which is basically a free restart from wherever the foul happened. But if the foul is bad enough, the referee reaches into his pocket for a card. Yellow card means that's a warning, knock it off. Get a second yellow in the same game, and that becomes a red card. Straight ejection. And here's the part that genuinely shocks people coming from American sports, Jan. There's no substitute for that. Your team just plays the rest of the match with 10 players instead of 11. One bad tackle, and your whole team is shorthanded for the rest of the game. No do-overs, no fresh player off the bench to replace him. Quick detour because you're going to see this every few minutes and nobody ever explains it. When the ball goes out of bounds, play has to restart somehow. And which restart happens depends on who kicked it out and where. Ball goes out along the sideline. Whoever didn't touch it last gets a throw-in. Literally picking the ball up and throwing it back onto the field with both hands. Yes, even though hands are banned everywhere else, throw-ins are the one exception. Ball goes out behind the goal line, last touched by the defending team. That's a corner kick. The attacking team gets to place the ball in the corner and curl it into the box, which is exactly as dangerous as it sounds. And if the attacking team knocks it out behind the goal line instead, the goalkeeper just gets to place it down and kick it back into play. Simple as that. None of these sound exciting on paper, but corner kicks alone have decided entire World Cup matches. One cross into a crowded box, one head connects, and suddenly the stadium explodes. All right, Time for the rule that breaks everyone's brain the first time they hear it. Offside. Here's the simplest way to picture it. When your teammate passes you the ball, you can't already be standing behind the last defender, closer to the goal than both the ball and that defender, at the moment the pass is made. If you are, offside. Play stops. Even if you score, it doesn't count. Why does this rule even exist? Imagine if one player just stood next to the opposing goalkeeper for the entire match, waiting for one long pass to tap it in from 2 feet away. That would be incredibly boring, and honestly, kind of cheap. Offside exists to stop cherry-picking. It forces teams to actually build up an attack instead of camping out next to the goal. And even with that explanation, referees still get this wrong all the time. It's genuinely one of the hardest calls in sports, happening in a split second, often by millimeters. Which is exactly why in tournaments like the World Cup, there's now a video assistant referee, VAR, reviewing replays frame by frame, ready to cancel a goal that looked completely fine in real time. Yes, fans hate it. Yes, it's still here to stay. Now, the clock. This one genuinely confuses Americans the most. In football, the clock never stops. No timeouts, no commercial breaks, no pausing for fouls. It just runs, 45 minutes straight, twice with a short break in between. But here's the catch. Every time the ball goes out for a substitution, an injury, or someone wasting time, the referee is mentally tracking those seconds. At the end of each half, all of that gets added back on. That's called stoppage time. And it's why a match can technically last 96 or 97 minutes instead of 90. So when a commentator suddenly shouts that there's 8 minutes of stoppage time, that's not a mistake. That's 8 bonus minutes for something dramatic to happen. And in football, dramatic things absolutely love stoppage time. Some of the most famous goals in history have happened in the final seconds, after the clock should have already hit 0. So, what happens if the score is tied? In a normal league match, that's completely fine. The game just ends as a tie, which they call a draw. Both teams actually get points for it. A 0-0 result is a totally normal outcome. But in the World Cup, once you reach the knockout rounds, a tie isn't allowed. Someone has to go through. So if the score is level after 90 minutes, they play an extra 30 minutes called extra time. Still tied after that? It comes down to penalty kicks. One player, one shot, from 12 yards out, face-to-face with the goalkeeper. Whoever scores more wins. It's one of the most stressful things you will ever watch, and players have admitted the walk-up to that spot feels like it lasts forever. Now let's zoom out. How does the actual World Cup work? It's not one giant bracket from day one. It starts with a group stage. The teams get split into small groups, and everyone plays everyone else in their group. The top teams from each group move on, and everyone else goes home. Then it switches to knockout rounds. Lose once, and the tournament is over for you. Win, and you keep climbing. Round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finally the final. One match, one trophy. One champion crowned for the next 4 years. And here's a fact that might genuinely surprise you. The 2026 World Cup is being hosted by 3 countries at the same time. The US, Canada, and Mexico sharing one tournament. That has never happened before in the entire history of the competition. Before we wrap up, a few quick translation notes, because football has its own language, and you're going to hear all of this constantly. Pitch is the field. Kit is the uniform. Boots are cleats. A draw is a tie. And one more thing. In most of the world, this sport is just called football. Soccer is actually a British word too, short for association football. Americans didn't invent it. They just kept using it after everyone else dropped it. Here's the one thing I want you to remember more than anything else. Football is the only major sport where the most common scoreline, 1-0, can also be one of the most dramatic things you'll ever watch. Nothing happens for 90 minutes, and somehow everything happens. If this actually helped, subscribe. Because this World Cup, you're not going to be the person asking, wait, why did they stop? You're going to be the one explaining it to everyone else.